I can look at you and not want to have anything to do with you because I know where my morals belong. And not that I'm against sex. I got 7 kids. Okay? I got 7 kids. And we lost 3. But just because I see a woman's boobs exposed doesn't mean that that's going to get me hot and bothered, because I don't believe that if we don't practice what we preach, if we don't set an example for our children, then I'm no better than the guy that goes out there, a woman that goes out there and sells it, exhibitions itself, does with drugs.
Do you find women in bathing suits in magazines offensive? Is that offensive?
Hell no, because she's not showing her boobs. They're leaving some to the imagination.
What's so special about the genitals? I mean, are the genitals the only part of the body that needs to be covered? Isn't saying that they're the only part that needs to be covered kind of like saying they're the most important part? Are they more important than your brain? More important than your hand?
Well, your brain is covered, isn't it? And so is your heart covered. Do you expose them? Do you expose your heart?
They're inside my skin.
Okay, then your dress, your boobs should be inside your dress.
Bill, let me go, Bill. Let me go to you. Bill, you're a concerned father of 5 children. If Denise was your daughter, how would you feel and what advice would you give her? And incidentally, her parents know what she does and they're very proud of her. Am I correct? So.
Well, first of all, I got 4 children. Otherwise, I'm in big trouble.
Well, Bill, it says
right.
5 here, so go home and ask your wife something.
That's right. There were 2 miscarriages, you know, so maybe. But, you know, the thing is, I think the question you just asked me, would I want a daughter or how do I feel about her doing it? I don't like to see this at all from a societal standpoint. In other words, I've also seen it. Well, none of us are going to come up here and moralize. That's not what I'm here to say. What I want to say is that, you know, my kids are growing up. I got a boy 4 months old. I got daughters 5 and 7. I got a boy 18. Maybe he's seen too much of this already. You know, I have no way of knowing, but...
why don't you? Don't you communicate with him?
Not as well as one should. You know, there's a little bit of teenage, you know, adolescent stuff there.
Is your kid 18 a virgin?
That's a good question, Mort. I don't know.
I could say my daughter 19 is a virgin. I'm damn sure of that. Because I'm not a hypocrite. No, let me tell you something, pal. When you have daughters that you keep around and don't hang on corners, don't sit on cars, don't hang in bars, and no, remember, character at home is what makes a family. Character at home. And unless you're a hypocrite of what you teach your daughter.
Well, I've had 3 daughters. All right, I've had 3 daughters. My daughters are all grown. My youngest one's still at home. And I guess I would be saying, gee, I'm sorry to say, but I'm not going to say I'm sorry to say. Not one of them's virginity lasts past the age of 17. And yet I have 3 magnificent, fabulous daughters, 2 who are great mothers, and 1 who is going to be graduating from college in about 3 years. So, you know, I guess what we're saying is, what is the most important thing to us? The fact that one of your kids goes out and has sex, or the fact that your kid has responsible sex, is a responsible individual, and doesn't get involved in some of the hanky-panky that's going on around this country. We'll be right back. Let me ask Yvette. You've written a book called Dancing the Hard... You've written a book called Dancing the Hard Way, haven't you?
Yes.
You're Yvette.
Yes.
You're Denise.
Yeah.
I'm getting these names screwed up. I didn't recognize the bodies. You've written a book called Dancing the Hard Way.
Yes. About
your career as an exotic dancer. What turns people on to the old bump and grind?
Old bump and grind?
Yeah. Is that what you do, the old bump and grind?
Yeah. I keep it alive. I used to. I don't dance anymore. I used to keep it alive. And what they like is what I gave them was I tried to keep the old type burlesque, you know, the glamour, the feathers.
The stuff Tony was talking about, the center was talking about.
Yeah, I don't know what he's
Lily
talking
St. Cyr,
about.
remember when we were kids? Lily St. Cyr?
And choreo
Beautiful
and all
stuff,
of them.
man.
That's what I kept going.
Gorgeous.
And they liked it. I had a big following, and I wrote a book on my experiences in Times Square. But
what were your experiences?
I had all kinds, you know. I met all kinds of people.
Did you ever sell your body?
No, and I never did drugs. It doesn't have anything to do with nude dancing.
Did you ever sit with anyone at a table after you got through dancing?
No, we didn't have any tables in the burlesque houses. There's no alcohol served.
You ever sat at a table with anyone in your dancing place?
No, I stay in the dressing room
Never.
between shows.
Never, ever?
No.
You know, Mort, Let me just clarify
Amazing.
something.
We found the only 5 virgins
Okay.
doing strip.
Remember one thing. I'm not condemning any young lady here that is a dancer, professional dancer with morals. You say never did drugs, never sold your body. We're not condemning you. And we're not looking down on anyone in this audience that is a stripper. But you have to remember this, that there's a certain degree of this art, of nudity, exposure on stage, that has a lot to do with what's happening with our youngsters. You know, the laws are so liberal. And I like to take the Congress and the Senate and start with them. Those liberal guys who don't make laws to protect children, who make laws that at 16 years old, a girl can have sex without consent of her parent. That takes guardianship away. That's right here in the state of New Jersey.
How can you be sure that your daughters are virgins? And what's the big deal of, if they're a virgin, then they're a good girl. If they're not a virgin, they're a bad girl. What's one thing got to do with the other? And what do they both have to do with burlesque?
I'll answer your question. First of all, there's a lot to do with whether she has a sex relationship and she does not have a sex
What
relationship.
is that?
I don't want to come home with a bundle from Britain from a guy that
Then why
we
don't
know
you teach her birth control?
Why should I teach my daughter to be immoral with birth control when I could teach her to be more moral by telling her not to do it until she gets married?
I've seen thousands of guys like you in burlesque
No,
theaters
you
all
didn't
over
see
Times
thousands of
Square.
guys like me.
Just like you.
You never saw thousands of guys like me
You're
because
a
I don't waste
hypocrite.
my money looking at
You
that.
like girls like everyone else
Yes.
does.
I'm not a
But we
queer.
don't have to
I'm
sit
not a
around.
queer lady.
But
I didn't
the
say
point is,
that.
we don't have
Sure,
to
I
go
like
to
girls.
burlesque theaters and masturbate. We can get the real thing.
No,
I mean,
of course you
just
can, but
because
you
I
say
like
it's putting
girls
girls down.
doesn't mean
Not
that I
putting
have
the
to
girls
accept
down.
immoral procedures.
It's not immoral.
Well, if you call a girl standing in public taking all her clothes off not immoral, what the hell is it, St. Mary?
You don't like to see that?
Wait a second. All right. I'll show you something because the next stripper we have claims she does it for God. Let me zip it now. Zip it. Let's go. Let me introduce you to a new guest on home base. Her name is Kellie Everts, and she's a stripper for God. Kellie, let me tell you something, pal. If there's ever a milk strike, I'll know where to go. You claim that you perform for Christ, all right?
Yes.
Included in that is performing in your homemade porno movies. Are these movies intended for viewing in the big VCR in the sky or what?
Well, I'll tell you something. I have been the only stripper for God in the world, and I gave over 1,000 sermons in burlesque theaters and nightclubs. And I proved that women who show their bodies and sell their bodies are not pigs, and I'm sick and tired of guys like you calling us bimbos.
Hey, sit
and whores.
down, you fat
I'm sick.
bitch.
Listen, you sit down.
Sit up.
I am tired of being called a whore and a bimbo and a
You
slut.
say you prostitute?
It is the men that are the pigs. They're the degenerates and the perverts. They create.
Listen,
They create
listen,
the
just a
demand.
second.
We are the
This
supply.
is the crap
It is
she's
the men
in.
that want
Dominant
sex.
mystique,
The men want perversion.
where she can beat the
men
hell out
are
of
the
men.
sex
I'd love you to
maniacs.
try to beat me, honey. I'd show you how to kick the living out of a broad. And don't you ever claim you do this in the name of God.
Yes,
because
I am.
he is not a slut. You are. Is this the magazine you post for?
I preach
Is this
to men.
pornography? Is this
So
pornography?
what? So what? So what?
You're doing pornography in the name of God?
Pornography
Did
is
you
sex.
make a vow to the
God
Virgin
made sex.
Mary? Did you make a vow to the
I
Virgin
do
Mary?
not do sex. I have not had sex for 10 and a half years because the Blessed Virgin. That's right. The Blessed Virgin appeared to me and said, I do not want you
She
to have
appeared
sex
to
with
you?
men. That's right.
Do you do drugs?
Yes.
Do you do
think
drugs?
you're
Do you do drugs?
No, I don't.
You must have, baby, if the Virgin appeared to you.
No. The Virgin appears to good people who pray, and I pray, and I'm good, and I love God.
Are
and
you
I
a
love the
prostitute?
Blessed Mother. No, I'm not.
Were you a prostitute?
I have sold my body. So what? So what?
Let me
Sex
tell
is
you.
not a sin. Sex is not a sin. God created sex. God created the body.
God created a lot of
Who
things,
is
dear.
without sin? Are
We're
you
the
without
ones
sin?
who
Are
abuse
you
them,
without
not God.
sin? Are you without sin? You only do sex for procreation?
I'm not without sin. I don't say
You never
that.
masturbate? You never do anything except in marriage? Who of you is without sin?
Well,
Stand up and throw stones.
you know, I think what offends some people here is that while we are all not pure, and while no one could cast a stone that is without sin, I think though it is insulting to some to come up before an audience and say that in the name of God and in Jesus Christ, you perform whatever you perform.
And the Virgin
Now,
Mary.
if you, I do, however, will give you this kind of credit. If you at one time were a prostitute and you said that because of the name of Jesus you gave it up, I'll commend you for that.
I would too.
I will commend you for that.
Evil. They are
Okay.
giving men what they
But-
want and need.
No.
No.
One thing I
They
must
might
say,
be giving them what
if
they
a
want,
man
but that
in this
doesn't mean
audience
God
now-
made them want it.
if a man in
God
this
made
audience
sex.
wants your
God
body,
didn't make
will you
sex.
give it
God
to
made
him?
sex.
God
Wait a
didn't
minute.
make
Would
sex.
you
God
give it
made
to him?
man. And from the lousy rib of man, he made a pig like
No.
you.
Medical science has proven that the woman was first. And the first woman created the man.
Honey,
Medical science,
God,
biology.
God didn't need a rib when he created you. All you are is a pair with legs. Let me go to Bill. Bill, do you consider male or female public nudity immoral? And do you consider a lady like this, lady, who, first of all, has had a vision from the Virgin Mary? All right. Next, we'll find
So
out.
all visionaries
Next
are
time, we'll
crazy?
find out that she's
Then all
carrying
the saints
Jesus.
are crazy. Saints saw visions.
What?
They're all crazy. All saints are crazy.
No, saints
because they
did
saw
something to
visions.
prove they were saints, honey.
I prayed. I prayed for years and years.
That's
I was
good.
in seclusion
That's
and
good.
silence praying.
That's good.
That's why I had
But
visions.
did you get an answer?
Yes.
And what was the answer?
Many
to
times,
give
I had
up,
many
to
different
give up
answers.
prostitution, right?
That has nothing to do with it. The Blessed Virgin said don't have sex anymore 10.5 years ago.
And you haven't had it since.
That's right.
It's backed up into your chest.
And more. I mean, what this woman is saying is an insult to our collective intelligence. There is no way she's making any sense. She's half gone.
He's making dollars, not cents.
Maybe lots of dollars somewhere. This is the kind of thing I worry about with my children. If she gets out there and my kids got to see this, whether it's on TV, regular TV, home box office, this is the kind of thing that bothers me.
You're
Not
the kind of man that
performers.
sneaks around to massage parlors and prostitutes.
I do. Do I?
And you're a big hypocrite here.
I do. Do I? Where'd you ever see
Mr.
me in a
Big,
massage
in the
parlor?
public. Where's all
I
the
have a
sleep
wife.
bags?
What? Do you have a husband?
Where are all the men? Where are all the men that go to all the prostitutes? How come you only have the so-called good guys here?
Oh, that
Where's
means-
all the Johns?
that means we
Where
should
they
condone
hiding?
you.
Where's all
Good
the
guys
Johns?
here.
Were
We're
they
not all
hiding
good guys
in
here.
magazines like you put out? Dominance, all right?
Dominant mystique.
Aren't you a lady who believe you're a, what do they call them? Dominicers? What do they call them?
Dominatrix.
Dominatrix. So men come to you who want to be dominated.
That's right.
What do you do to them?
I dominate them.
How?
I hit them. I tease them. I torture them. I give to men what they deserve because they need punishment because they're the bad ones, not the women. They need discipline.
Wait a minute.
They need discipline.
We don't generalize with women, and you should
Not
not
all men.
generalize with
Not
men.
all men.
There
I know
are
this.
sick men that like to
They're
be
not
dominated.
They're not
They're sick. They're
No.
sick
They're
like
sick.
yours are sick.
Why
They're
should women?
sick.
Why,
They're
Senator?
sick just like anyone.
No.
I guess you guys want to be
Senator.
dominated, getting his ass whipped.
Wait a
Well, how do
minute.
you get dominated?
Let me ask you a straight question. Why should women be dominated by men?
They shouldn't
No
be.
one should be dominated by anyone but by our
dominated
morals.
by men.
You're saying men
And
that
I'm-
wanna be, are sick.
There are men that are sick,
And there are women
that
who are
are
sick.
sick.
Who wants to be beaten is sick.
I mean, there are
Anyone
some
who
guys
wants to be beaten
that like
is
to get
sick.
themselves whipped with a wet
Sick
towel to
mind
reach a
wants to
climax.
be beaten. It's the sick mind that wants to be
I know a
beaten.
guy. I know a senator in the United States today.
It ain't me.
Who she probably know. I know. Who likes to get down on his hands and knees like this, have ostrich feathers put in his rear end, a collar put on, and the dominatrix pet him and say, "Nice bird, huh?"
That's a sick son of a bitch.
That's a sick guy.
And
That's a guy.
the kind of
That's a
man
guy who's making the
that
laws
we want
that
out
make
of our
this possible.
society with the women he does it with.
Let's come
Because
back, all
that's
right?
a
Let's come
dangerous
back in just a second and continue this. Go.
While the
Let me introduce some gentlemen who are at our loudmouth number 2 there. And these gentlemen are former Chippendales. When they do their bump and grind, it's considered cute and fun. Yet women are considered sleazy. Do you think male strippers are okay?
I believe that all of this has its proper perspective to where to go. I don't believe it should be made public, like on VCRs and stuff like that. Before, like I said, not to be redundant, we had the Burlesque, we had the Empire, we had Minsky's. You had a specific place to go, and that's where it belonged. It doesn't belong in the public where you want to go in with your wife and your daughter. It seems like every place, most of the places today, have this type of entertainment, and it's not always acceptable.
Why do you feel it's wrong? Do you feel like it leads to sex? Do you feel like it leads
I'll
to
tell you what it leads
promiscuity?
to. I'll tell you what it leads to, and bear with me.
Censorship is bad.
Wait a minute now.
It
Let me
leads to
tell
a
you what it leads to.
disrespect. Leads to a disrespect for a woman's body.
There was once a man in the United Nations who took his shoe off and was banging it on the counter. And he said to the American public, "Give me one generation of youth, and I will destroy America within, and I will take over America without firing a shot. Drugs, sex, pornography, exposure to the youngsters, unidentification with parents and God, that destroys my nation."
Excuse me.
Now wait,
You're saying
there may
that
be a
nothing
form of
to do
entertainment for
with
them,
drugs.
but I'm worried about my America. I'm worried about my children.
I am not in favor of casual sex.
I'm
I am
glad to
not
hear
in
that.
favor of
Free country, and
promiscuity.
people should say
I
what
am
they
not
want
in
to say.
And
favor
if you
of
wanted to
drugs.
remain free, Kelly,
I
if
feel
you want to
like a
remain
human
free,
being
you
should
have to
I feel
set
like
a
if you
moral
raise
tone
your
of
children
A, responsibility, and B,
they can
respect for the
see
woman,
a sexy
and
woman, a
C,
woman
respect for
in a
the man.
bathing suit,
Yes.
a sexy man,
I agree with
and
that.
say, that's a delicious looking person without needing to rape them or go out and pick up a whore on a street
But
corner.
that's what we're trying to say. What's the necessity? I know when I go home to my woman, there's something got to be left to the imagination. I don't want her walking around the street with no clothes
it's
on.
very
Let the
nice
people
I don't want my
to
daughter.
wait.
I don't
Let the
want my
people
daughter
decide what
doing
they
it.
Are you
want.
offended by nudes in the Metropolitan Museum of Art?
I'm offended by
Are you
nudity.
offended by
Yeah,
painting?
yeah. In certain arts, yeah. Because it's not made in the
Are
same
you
concept.
offended by a
Excuse me, let me
Rodin
answer your question.
painting?
It's not done in the concept of cultured art. Not like it was. It's being done under the concept of pornography, piggish stuff today. You're
I'm
talking
not
about,
in
This is what
pornography.
if you're
is
talking about
different.
Roman sculpture, that's quite
Pornography
different.
is not nudity. Pornography is the depiction
No?
of the
What they do
sexual
with their
act.
clothes on?
Pornography
pornography is
is
not
the
nudity-
depiction of the sexual act. Nudity is just nudity. It could be in a painting. It could be in a still picture. Pornography is when you depict people
Well, I'm going to
having
agree with the
sex.
young lady on that. I'm going to agree with
you
that.
can agree with her.
All right.
I don't agree with it. Because you're having sex, you're still nude, aren't you?
I'm
You're
not
not
in
showing
favor
up
No,
of
no,
nudity.
but what she's
I'm
saying,
in
Senator,
talking
is
about nudity. I'm
just
not in
nudity
favor of
like a
depicting
Rubens
people
or a
having
Gauguin
sex.
or something, all right?
Talking Rubens
But when
category.
she's,
Good,
and
we
she's
agree
talking
with
about
that.
that.
Yeah, I
But
agree
when you're
with that.
talking about some of these pictures
Pornography.
in Nugget, in some of these magazines, Cherie, where you show penetration, where
I'm
you
not
show
in
a
favor
girl
of
down
that. I'm not in
performing
favor
oral
of
sex,
That's
that
wrong.
is
I
pornography.
am not in favor
Lord,
of
this
that.
is what the
I
men
think
want.
pornography
No,
is
it isn't what
the
sexual
men
act.
want.
That's
The
what
men
I'm
want.
saying. That degrades
Only the men.
The
sexual
men do
act.
not want nice, beautiful,
We have a sick
old-fashioned
society.
clothes.
That reduces
Let me get back to these guys. Let me get back to Tommy and Danny, all right? How about you guys? Do you do drugs and sleep with fat, horny ladies when you go home?
Not at all, Mort.
All right, now you're working. What do you call yourselves now?
Night moves.
Night moves.
Right.
So you do male stripping, right?
Yes. Right.
And the girls tuck money into your G-strings and all that stuff, right?
Not necessarily.
Have you ever picked up a girl at one of these places that you thought was nice? Come on, guys,
No.
level with me.
No, you have to keep that.
Well, let me ask you. Then. Are you gay? Are you gay?
No.
Are you gay?
Not at all.
All right.
All of us are
After the job is over, will you maybe go in the audience and
no, we
pick up a young lady?
It's a policy not to do that at all.
Policies are meant to be broken. I've seen them broken as a kid.
I wouldn't do it any more than if I was in a nightclub on my own. If I was in a club and I was
three
dancing.
good-looking guys, three good guys dropping down to their jocks so that the only thing hanging out there is their. And you're telling me when a young
Mark,
girl.
can I just say something?
Yeah.
All right. First of all, we all have other occupation besides this. What we do is we do this at night to make extra money. That's basically the sole.
How much
purpose.
money do you make?
Okay. How much money do I make? What, dancing?
Yeah.
Because
That's not important.
well, really, I
That's
couldn't
not-
tell
it's
you.
not the issue. That's not
It all
important.
changes.
It is
Well,
important.
actually,
It's
well,
not.
no. What actually is important is
Yeah,
though,
it
look,
is important.
You
I just
see,
said it's important.
excuse me, yeah, okay, you're the boss. I agree. But what I'm just saying is that you see the spectrum of the range of people that do this. Now, in our cases, I'm an actor. I just made 2 films. They're major films. They'll be coming out. Okay. He owns his own business, and he also he's a model, and he does other things. Okay. That's right, Superman. Anyway, so all I'm saying is, look, we all have our own aspirations. Now, I would prefer to dance at night than to waiter or something to that effect.
Okay.
All right, because I just don't like that type of demeaning thing. The way we present ourselves on stage is the way that you're viewed. Now, in other words, when males do it, there is a double standard. Females are looked upon poorly because their act usually entail more nudity and more specifically explicit type things.
All you're doing is
No,
showing.
it's because the men degrade women and the men have a bad opinion.
When men do it, I'm not going to argue with her because she does
Women
it
are nice to you because women are good people. Men are the perverts and the degenerates.
Hey, Mort, can you get her out of here?
It's wrong. Mort, if it's wrong.
You dance for God. Well, if you dance for God,
is a
why are you
man, honey.
condemning
Hey,
everybody?
Mort.
God is a
I'm
man.
sick and tired of hearing God
Lord,
is the Son of God.
Who's
is a man.
who's
I
the
say,
Virgin Mary? A guy?
Bring back the goddess religion.
20 years ago, you didn't see this shit on, excuse me,
Yes, you did.
on the street.
Oh,
not
on the
like
street?
this.
Oh, no, you're
Not
right.
on the TV, not everywhere else.
No, you sure
Now
did.
we got it for the ladies. The men were already screwed up. I agree with you on that point. Now we got the ladies getting the same thing.
Well, can I ask
Why
you
is that justified?
Go,
I
let
just
him
wanna
jump
ask
in.
It's a
you
moral
How many in
Let him
this
jump.
audience would like to see their daughter do that? The truth. How many of you women would like to see your daughter exhibit themselves like that?
Or
You
any
wouldn't
woman
want
you
it.
respect.
You
Can I
don't
ask
want
a
it.
question?
Why you don't want it?
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
How many
I'll tell
want
you
to
why.
see their mothers
I have
do
a
it
daughter.
or their wives do it?
I have a daughter.
Mort,
You know why?
Mort.
You know why people don't want their daughters to do
Men or
this?
female, do any
I'll
of these
tell you
people
why.
have children? Do any of them have children or have had children?
I
Any
have.
children?
Anybody have children?
I have.
Any children?
I'll tell you the answer why
Any children?
we
Well,
don't
of
want
course,
this.
I forgot.
How old?
I have a daughter 18 years old. I want to tell you why I do not want my daughter to do this. Because she will be called a bimbo by hypocrites and a whore and a slut. And she won't be. She's good. Because we are sick and tired. Sick and tired. Sick. You said, you come here.
Hey, Mort, I resent being on the same show with her.
You know something? You know something? You know something? Listen. You know something? You know something? She gave us our answer, didn't she? Huh? The hairy armpit gave us our answer. We'll be back with the audience and find out what they have. Before we go to the audience and before we go to a very interesting dance, all right, let me ask these guys. In your opinion, what has this show done in general to raise the image of women in the eyes of women and men in the eyes of men?
Well, basically, what I just want to point out is our type of show is very choreographed. It's much more of a professional type show, and it's a little bit different from what these girls.
Hey,
do.
ladies, how many of you want to see these guys take it off? Come on, ladies, let me hear you.
Where can we do it?
If you want to see these guys take it off every Friday and Saturday night, you can see them at Stevie G's. And I've also performed at the Octagon.
Wait.
Hey, ladies, come on, with your macho boyfriends here. Who wants to see
Mort
this?
asked. Mort asked.
Wait a second.
Mort was asking what this show did, what this show should be doing, while showing that these young ladies are in their profession. Think of the pimps who wait in the bus stops for runaway girls and put them in caves, kick the living hell out of them, and put them on the street. Think of the organized crime that takes a young kid that goes on the wrong route and they fill her up with juice and they got her out there hooking. Think of what the criminal element does with pornography and exhibitions. There are legitimate ones, but think of what organized crime
Senator,
does.
I couldn't let the evening pass without being able to allow a goddess Ambrosia to strut her stuff and twirl knives.
I resent being on the same show.
You resent being associated with these women? Where's your knives, Sonny? Do something with the knives, you know. Boring. Jeez.
Is this the Gong Show?
Everybody take cover. Okay. All right. The hook, huh?
The hook.
All right. Now, guys, let's go to our audience. Well, I want our audience to get up here. Come on up, pal. Dear Lord. You're not going to do a strip for us, are you?
No, I'm not going to do a strip for you.
Thank God.
Okay, I'm from Newark. And not only about the immoral part of it, but how about the danger to the girls? We had a young girl, 19 years old, in Newark, who said, I don't do drugs. I don't sell my body. Yet, if it wasn't for the senator and his patrol that found the girl, she had 6 bullets in her. The senator went out with his patrol, found the guy on Bloomfield Avenue, said, what the hell, she's a whore.
The guy said.
The guy said to him.
That's all he thought.
That's all he said.
So
It's a
he
whore.
had no value for a woman.
No value whatsoever. They say, well, I don't sell my body. I don't do drugs. But when it comes down to the final number, you find out they're wrong.
She was a stripper, though.
She was a stripper.
All right, so she excited some mental midget to
That's
go
all
out
you get,
and try to
Mort.
kill her.
If it wasn't for people like you and the senator that's God-fearing American and right, white, and blue.
How do you know he's more religious than I am? You're not more God-fearing than I am. What makes you think you're better than a prostitute? What makes you think you're better than a prostitute, huh?
Hey, I'll tell you.
Excuse me.
How do you
I have to
judge?
defend
Who
him.
are you?
I'll tell you what makes him better than a
Excuse me.
prostitute.
What?
Excuse me. That man works 6 days a week on a volunteer ambulance squad. He patrols. He personally delivered 6 babies. And he's better than a prostitute.
There goes son. There goes. Kelly, will you shut up? One time,
Mort, get
you're a man-hating bitch.
We're tired of it, Mort. Get it. Get it.
Mort, I think the point we have to bring up here is
Will you shut your fat,
Let
breasted
me
mouth?
go. Excuse me, Mort.
Prostitutes are good. Macho men
Honey,
are going to hell.
honey, let me tell you. Enough. Now go.
the point we have to bring up here is a question of responsibility. Whether it's you saying that you have a legitimate job, whether you're saying your job is legitimate, it's a responsibility to everyone else in your community, going from the community to the state to the nation. If you're portraying yourself in what can be seen or perceived as a negative light, then how is everyone else going to perceive?
Man
Just
or
because,
woman.
man
Same
or
way.
woman. If
Same
you
way,
can't
Cal.
sit there and tell everyone each individual situation if you're dancing, you're saying, well, I'm not doing it in a negative light. Well, how does everybody else know unless you're saying it? You're seeing it in a negative light. That's how everybody else is seeing it. It doesn't do any good for the community, doesn't do any good for the state, doesn't do any good for the nation. And we're not about to stand for it. We got to get rid of them, Mort.
Go ahead,
Mort, I've seen you do. I've seen lame shows before, but this is just no better exploitation than what you can buy in these cheap magazines. If
You're
I
right.
want this stuff, I'll go in the
You're
Village
right.
Voice or something like that.
You're
Go
absolutely
back
right.
there.
This is as exploitive and cheap and low as they come.
Well, so get some better shows here.
Good.
Fans love it.
Good.
Wait a second, Mort. I just want to say one thing.
Show comes
All right,
for
listen.
you.
He's entitled to his opinion, lady.
Listen,
he's
there-
putting me in my place, and he's right. Because I've exploited the hell out of the television audience to get them to watch this, because I want them to see people who are weird like you, people who are nice like her, people who are probably gentlemen like this, ladies like this who, dear God, madam, get a job at Wendy's. Make something of yourself.
Mort, I have never stripped. I am not an exhibitionist. I am a belly dancer.
All right. Let's go with the rest of the audience. Go ahead, pal. You're next. Go ahead. Let's just.
Well, I just want to make it clear, though, that we are not associated with them. Okay, wait, listen, I don't mean that in an insulting, derogatory way. All
Of course you do.
Is that, all I mean is that, all I mean, I'm not better than anyone. That's not what I'm saying. All I mean is that we do things in a different way, in a different manner.
Let me
than
hear
I think
Denise.
you
She's
do.
been trying to say something.
I just wanted to say that I feel like this business has the potential to show how beautiful the human body is. It's not necessarily sexual. I mean, you know, this business has the potential to show how beautiful the body is, how beautiful all parts of the body, arms, hands, fingers, breasts, hair, face are. I mean, just because you look at, you know, when you...
Go ahead, pal.
You're entitled to your opinion.
This is
and
the
no one
audience
ever
portion.
forced you to watch
the
a
audience portion.
striptease.
Right.
If you feel it's inappropriate,
Kellie.
don't go.
Kelly, is your daughter proud of what you're doing?
Yes,
She is?
yes.
What does your daughter do?
Just like you.
What does your daughter do?
She's married.
She's what?
She's 18 years old and she's married.
Because she wanted to get away from the mother.
She's a veteran.
What else? Young man, go ahead.
Mort, I'd just like to say I'm a police officer in Newark, and I deal with these type of people all the time in the project. We find people like you all the time, strung up. People like you to promote crime. People like you. If I had you in my church, you're despicable. You're a piece of.
What are you?
People like you.
What are you?
I'm a Catholic.
You're a Catholic.
That's
What
right.
does that make you?
That's
There's
right.
a lot
That
of
makes
Catholics.
me a person that abides by the law and respects people, and you do not respect no one. And you
Yes,
respect
I do.
no one's
I respect
morals.
women and decent men.
People like you are laying in the projects constantly. We see them all the time. Strung up, dope, shot. Well, all because of you people like you. You make
You
people.
know what kind of a Catholic you are?
What kind of
You're
Catholic
the kind
I
of a Catholic that did the Inquisition, that put the Jews in the ghetto.
Yeah, all right. Sit down. You don't know what
Catholic
you're
you
talking
are.
about. You don't know what you're
You
talking
don't like
about.
Jesus
You
Christ.
don't know what you're
You
talking
do
about.
not need Jesus.
No, you sit down. You're a piece of.
Let me tell you something. Don't blame the Catholics.
Catholic you
Just a
are.
minute. Don't blame the Catholics for what happened to the Jews.
Narrow-minded.
No, sir. Hold on.
The Pope put the Jews in the ghetto.
I, as a
The
Catholic,
Pope.
will not stand here and have the Catholics be blamed for what happened to the Jews. That's now.
Know it very well.
And let me tell you something. Hold on.
We'll be back in just a minute. We'll argue this out and we'll be back. Let's go back to our loudmouths. Loudmouth 2,
Yeah, I'd like to say something just from a woman's standpoint.
please.
And from a woman's standpoint, when it's done for entertainment purposes and it's done tastefully, okay, like these guys do, where it's on a stage and
Go
they come
like
off
Denise
stage.
did.
And, well, not even so much
Not even
that,
her?
because look at what she's wearing to look what these guys are wearing.
wearing
I
my
don't see,
jacket.
but I don't know. She's wearing a topless thing and a little leopard print with things on the side.
Yeah, but they haven't done anything. They take their pants off and they got a G-string. Right?
Yeah, but there's
Right?
there's no reason
that
that it belongs on a stage when it's done tastefully up there, when it's in costumes, okay, and it's done as
Yeah,
part
but
of the
you
show.
say tastefully. Sweetheart, believe me, I have been to theaters in Los Angeles where they have sex on stage.
That's not what I'm
It's all
talking about.
choreographed.
No,
it's
no,
all
that's not what I'm
very
talking about.
tasteful.
I'm
all right?
talking about what
Come
you
on.
see. What you see sometimes with girls in skimpy costumes, let's say big headdresses, and that's up on stage, and there's not any nudity. Okay, that's done. It's just a costume.
Yeah, I
When
like
it's-
something left
when
the
it's-
imagination.
Yeah, when it's done, I mean, sex on stage and pulling off
All
your
right,
shirt.
let me go to this young lady. What have you perceived tonight?
Well, what I wanted to say was that I've had these guys at our club, at Octagon in the city. I've had these guys at our club, Octagon in the city, and it is very tasteful. It's very choreographed. It's very nice.
Well, but
and a
I'm-
lot
I'm
of the
telling
women
you, a
love
lot of
it.
these women, a lot of these women consider choreographed.
This is very trashy. I mean, it's not done like the guys are done. I can respect these guys
Okay.
more than I can
Let
respect
me go to this
them.
young lady.
Hi, Mort.
All right, let me ask you a question. You've seen the show tonight.
Yes.
Are you uplifted about women in this business?
I personally want to say that these women portray themselves as sluts. I'm sorry, no matter what. I want to know, where is the self-respect for these women? I want to know, how do you feel about yourselves? I mean, come on. Everybody looks at you and everybody says, these women are sluts no matter what. No matter what. You look like sluts. I'm sorry.
These guys that say that are morons. Morons.
Good for you.
Morons. You are morons.
Kelly,
Morons.
Kelly, we might be morons, but I'd have to drink a case of Doers before I for you.
You can't even get more.
Honey, she's right. She's right. She's right. Looking at her, I shrunk.
Because you're gay.
I'd just like to say that. I just like to say I do go to go-go bars, and I do appreciate women like the one in the center there. I do.
Of course.
But what
you
I
like
don't
me
appreciate
because
that. You don't
like
preach
me.
about God.
You don't like me. You don't like me because I stick up for my rights. They want submissive women that give them. They want women that give them. That's what they want, and I will do it.
Security.
Sweetheart.
You sit it.
Sweetheart, while you got that microphone near your mouth, do what you know how to do best with the microphone.
Can I star you in my
Baby.
thinking sodomy?
This girl right here says that she dances in the name of God. Who actually appointed her, or who?
She had visions, man. She had vision. She had a vision. You'd have a vision too. She's probably got a lot of diseases to go on the vision.
A bunch of
Look
pigs.
at, look at. There are people who do this, who do it in good taste. This young lady, these gentlemen. There are people who do it strictly to exploit people. This lady, she is, in my opinion, a pig, a slut, a tramp, everything that's bad. And that's too bad because she's probably a nice lady. Good night, everybody. Say good night. Say good night, Kelly. Good night, Kelly. And save your armpits.
She doesn't want to know about you, nor about him, nor even about Christopher. And you want to know why?